list. Now, let me bring in the programs manager of Green Africa Youth Organization, and they also have some interest on this matter, Desmond Alugnoa. Mr. Alugnoa, you're welcome to the Pulse on Joy News.
Thank you very much for having me.
Right, so from your perspective as an industry player, what do you make of this plastic pollution fee on polymer production that's been proposed by the Ghanaian delegation at this ongoing conference?
Yeah, I think that that's a very bold step and a very good one, because my organization have been looking at the business aspect of plastics in the country. And at the moment in Accra alone, we're collecting about 12 tons of plastics every month. And that's a huge amount of plastics. But look at the situation, it's still looking the same way. And we're looking at how do you make money? How do you create more jobs, employ more and more young people, especially, and women who are in the forefront of picking waste, reclaiming and recovery. And how do you still make money when you recycle these things after paying at every stage? So levying these companies, levying the importers, levying those who manufacture will help us to be able to establish material recovery facilities or buyback centers so that we can have easy access to these things in larger volumes.
But you do understand me, or you do appreciate the fact that this discussion didn't start today. We've been on a discussion for years, 10, 20 years. And in all these years that we've had this discussion, we've looked at the impact of plastic on the environment, yet we have failed to come to a decision on the way forward once and for all. Is it lack of political will or economic reasons that is making it so difficult to come to a decision as to the way forward in dealing with plastics in the country?
Yeah, thank you. I would say it is a mixture of both, because the political will is number one. You need a nation, a government, and regulatory bodies that are able to stamp their feet on the ground and say that, hey, we don't want these problematic plastics, for example, the ones that do not have value for recycling companies in our country, because locally we cannot make business out of it. And then at the same time, you also need some sort of international instrument, for example, what they are negotiating, that you can always reference. Because without some reference point, it becomes difficult for a country, a single country, to be able to stand up with the industry. Mind you, the industry players are also really influential in political decision-making processes. So both sides plays a major role in the success of this.
And yesterday, for example, one of my colleagues, Masol Agbagba, did a story on field exhibition here in the Greater Accra region, where he visited a coastal community. Now, the fisher folks are complaining that now when they go to the sea, they catch more plastic than fish. So their economic gains is dwindling. But beyond the fact that they face economic consequences, the danger to the environment and the Ghanaian, if this matter is not dealt with, going for, let's say, for the next 5 or 10 years, what danger are we likely to be in if we don't take a decisive decision today?
Yeah, thank you so much. So you realize that we have a very long stretch coast, all the way from Keita, we have the coast to Accra, and then to the central region, we have a long coast. Now, what's happening is that the pileup is going to support in what we are recording in the country in terms of the flooding and urban heat waves that we are recording because of extreme temperatures. Now, the ocean might be seen as a separated entity, but every interaction that you have on the ocean is not only preventing you to have fishes, like you are saying, but it's also now having a compounding impact on the heat that we are recording, because when we actually have those heavy flooding, it doesn't end on bringing on board some of these things into the community, but it comes along with a lot of pathogens. It comes along with also a lot of disease-causing mechanisms, organisms that are going to dwindle the health of your population. Beyond that, we also now have, to the extreme of it, some of these plastics going all the way to the upper regions where farming is the bedrock. And so imagine that you are not able to actually have your food as quality as it is. In Kenya, for example, they are complaining of having particles of plastics in tea. So you can imagine what we will be complaining of, maize, we will be complaining of cassava and yam and what have you, and that has a direct impact on food security.
Let me ask a final question. Beyond the proposed imposition of levy on the polymer, what other recommendation would you put forth?
I would say that we need to always look at it from the business perspective. Plastics is here, and we might not be able to kill the industry, but we need to look at what is problematic and what is not problematic. What is the value of the plastic material? And then rate it according to the value chain. If you are employing someone at the local level who is picking these things from home to home, what is the person making? And is that worth it? If it is not worth it, then we kill that particular material because there are so many varieties of plastics in the system. And if we look at it from the business perspective, we would be able to eliminate the ones that are actually causing the problems, because it is when you don't want it that it mostly end up on the street. And then the ones that are having financial value, we actually also set up systems as government and as municipalities for people to easily return these bottles, return these sachet, and make money out of that.
All right. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon as we talk about plastic and the ongoing international conference to try and find a solution to the plastic menace in the country.